Very warm welcome to all of you all. Nice to have you. As I said, it's a very diverse group of audience that we're having for the webinar. It's thrilled to have. Myself,
Hello.
my
Hi.
name
Good
is
evening.
Gautam, and I'll be the moderator
Nice
for
to
the
have you.
evening. Um,
We are just
and
setting
I'm
up
also one of the speakers. Before we
the
get on with the
scene for
talk,
tonight.
I would like to address those who are new to Microsoft Teams. In order to interact with these speakers, there's the chat and reaction options that you have at the far right corner of the screen if you are logging in through a browser. Uh, you can put down your questions or whenever you feel like, and we will be answering them at the end of the session.
Hi. Good evening, dear. I think we have
I
people
hope
populating.
it's good to go otherwise.
Good evening. Nice to
Um,
see you.
for a brief introduction, we are uh, giving this class on behalf of Fibonalabs. We are based out of Bangalore. Uh, UX design company, technology driven. We provide end-to-end solutions when it comes to design and front-end development. Uh, there's also cloud services available. Our client base is global, 70%. The nature of work ranges from financial services, retail, e-commerce, logistics, etc. And uh, we've been established for a few years. And uh, a bit about myself. I think I've been working in the industry for about 4 years as a UX designer. I've been currently working for Fibonalabs. Be talking about be a speaker for the night. Then we have Madhavan. He's holding a bit of experience for about 15 years, 15 odd years. Apart from being a speaker, is also the director and the head of UX at Fibona Labs. It's great to have him on board, and he's also giving a thoughtful insights on what UX maturity is, and he's been the spearhead for the learning and the experience that we've had. Um, the third speaker will be Divya. He's my colleague. We have been working for
Hi.
Fibona Labs,
Good evening,
and
Subhinesh
he's
and
been in the game for
Ayush.
about 1 year.
Hi,
And
sure.
he's also UX designer.
Uh, just to
Um,
mention, I think we're going to be keeping the
so with that,
attendees on
I think,
mute for until the
are we good with
presentation
I think we'll
concludes.
just wait
Then
for one more
you're
minute,
free to keep your
and
videos
post
open if you
that we
want,
can
and
start.
cameras on.
And after that, you can just take. Uh,
And I think about time.
so I will
We give
just
a
brief
buffer time of about
give you
five
the
minutes,
heads
and
on
then we can
what the topic
commence the
is that we're
class.
going to be talking about today. UX maturity model. We're briefly going to be covering what UX is, why we need it, and how we're going to be conducting the UX maturity. As speakers, the um, why uh, why maturity model is being carried over by Madhavan. About the maturity model, Divya be speaking about it, and case study I'll be covering it. Before getting onto the topic, I think we would like to get an understanding on what the demography is of the audience that are sitting right now. So we'll be sending you off. Go to the slide, Madhavan. So as part of the general understanding, like we want to just identify what the crowd here is so that we can address it differently. So we please, if you could check up the poll, I think it's come onto your screens. Just identify yourselves based on what it is. You can put it on the poll comments section. The chat is useful one, but you can also click on the poll and then hit submit. I hope the poll is visible on all your screens right now. Is it?
Yeah,
I need some clarity. Yes, thanks. seconds. Perfect. I think Madhavan, I think you can take over the mic and we can get started with the content that we've got. I think you don't need.
Yeah, thanks, Gautam, for quick introduction and setting up the stage. Hello, everyone, and let us start. I hear some noise. I think somebody can go on mute. Sorry for the yeah. So thanks on going on mute. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Today, as Gautam give an introduction. We are going to share the experience, how we kind of conducted UX maturity model for few of our clients, and we are going to share our experience. So, but before starting, what is UX maturity? How to conduct UX maturity? I would like to start with this particular map. I hope most of you familiar with this map, what you see in the screen, right? In case if you visited the zoo in recent years, you can see this. You can see this kind of map used to be there in the entrance, or maybe if you walk some distance, you can find another map which try to guide you, right? So the idea to bring this map, I would like to kind of discuss it out this map, the logic behind this map, right? So and also through the survey, we found that most of your attendees are design professionals, right? And most of you know what is visual design, how to set visual hierarchy, how to set information hierarchy, and you might be very familiar with that, right? But when come to these kind of visuals, right? Do you think you can really use that visual hierarchy where you can guide the user what to read first, what to read as a secondary item, what to read as a tertiary item? It is a kind of bit difficult, right? You can understand because you as a zoo owner, or the owner of that place, you want to give equal importance to all the animals, and you want to guide all the visitor to travel through all the roads, right? So bringing that hierarchy is really tough here. And even personally, I worked on one of this project, and that's where we kind of face this difficulties as a designer, right? So now, but there is one more thing I would like to highlight. But if you see, there is a mark which actually helping you to start with, to start somewhere, right? You need to get started with the visual somewhere, right? So actually, that particular point is you are here, right? And also, we as a human, we go to places, right? We kind of, if you are going to new place, there is always some certain level of panic in our mind, right? Like, hey, I come to the new place whether I'm in the right place or not, where I supposed to go? This is the kind of thought which come to you very often if you are visiting the new place, right? But showing this kind of map and telling you, hey, you are at this location, right? Actually, you know what it is doing? It is actually helping you to be grounded, to avoid that panic situation, right? It is make you to very familiar with that particular place. So this is the a very important logic you need to understand from this map, right? So and also it is actually see, by telling you you are here, it is also helping you to for your, or it is also helping you to plan your future activities in a better way, right? So that is what I would like to highlight from this particular map. Knowing where you are, it's actually helping you to planning where to go, right? This is very important. And also, I just want to give you one scenario to your mind. Imagine that you are a school teacher, you are taking let's say 15 students to that zoo, and you are asking them which animal you want to see first. But imagine that all 15 students are showing different animals at the same time, I really feel bad for you as a teacher, right? So that is the situation we supposed to avoid. We as a team, we as an individual, we as a group, we all should focus one thing, right? So for that, knowing where you are and planning where to go, it's very important to move ahead on anything. So with that understanding, I would like to bring you few more scenarios so that I feel I can take you to few more situation and I help you to visualize what are the things which is very important if you want to grow, right? So imagine that I want to learn or you want to learn to play the guitar. Maybe you are at this situation today, and all of us kind of in a Jan 2022, most of you, I feel you might took some New Year resolution, right? This imagine in this. This is also in the very similar line. Let's say you are in the Jan and you want to play, want to learn play guitar, but maybe after 6 months or after 1 year, that is based on your plan. You maybe after 6 months you want to feel like I have learned guitar and I can play it now, right? There is a big travel, right? Every day you have to plan it out, right? But maybe you are in point A, but you want to move to point B, right? But similarly, I would like to bring one more situation, one more scenario. Imagine you want to take your family to Maldives, right? Maybe you are in point 8 as of today. Maybe after a month or after 6 months or after 1 year, you kind of want to feel like you made a trip to Maldives and you had a very good time with the family, right? This can happen, right? And this is when come to the family. And also we saw when you as an individual you want to learn guitar. But now imagine that you as a team coach or you as a part of the team want to win a local tournament. Maybe you are kind of today you are in point A where you want to win, but you are planning for it, right? But after 6 months or after 1 year, you want to feel like you won that match and you somehow get managed to go to the podium, right? So these kind of, if you see as a team or if you see as a family or if you see as an individual, there is something which
Good
actually
evening, all.
helping you to go from A to B, right?
It's very nice to see such
So
a diverse audience
along with that, I would
for the
like to
webinar.
bring you one more
About
scenario.
2 minutes, we will
Imagine
be
that
starting straight at
our
9.
ancestors, right?
Maybe give a buffer
You
time
might see some
about
movies
5
where
minutes.
they go as a group and then they hunt mammoth, right, to serve food for the entire society, right? I but if you see, even our ancestor, even as of today, we as a team or
hello
we as a
everyone.
company, we as an organization, we want to move from point A to point B by using
Hello
something,
everyone, good
right?
evening.
So I think that is nothing but the strategy, right? I hope I don't think
I hope my voice is clear.
the ancestor followed strategy, right? They have followed the
Yes, they will.
strategy, right? And do you think they don't have a
Yes, Divya,
culture?
right.
Do you think they don't have a process to achieve it? Do you think they don't have outcome, right? See,
Hello, hi,
this
hi, Joshua.
strategy,
Nice to have you here.
culture, process, and outcome. These are the primary four factors which is actually helping you from moving from point A to point B, right? So in the first example, I was telling you, knowing where you are, planning where to go, it's very important for any kind of growth, right? And in the second example, what I am trying to tell you is that strategy, culture, process, outcome. These are the four primary factors. I'm not saying these are the only primary only factors. Those are the four primary factors which should be part of us to grow, to move from point A to point B, right? So that is what I would like to tell you. With this understanding, I feel we are in a good
Yeah, I
position
would
to
just like
learn
to again mention that
what is
all the
UX
attendees
maturity
have been
model,
put on
right?
mute for the
And before
duration of the
that, before
masterclass.
getting into the UX maturity, We have a question. Can you please
we'd be energized to see you all
answer
with
that
the
poll
camera on. It'd be nice
in
to
the
see
team?
people from across the globe. It's morning for some, night for others, and good evening for the rest.
So basically, when you are exploring new concept, see, we are going to explore UX maturity as a new concept. So I would like to know your preference when you are learning new thing. How what is the order you might be learning, right? So
All right. I think we've got a pretty good strength. I think
yeah,
we should be able
almost
to
50% of you saying
we
that through
commence
the
the talk.
survey you are saying that
Yeah,
you
so
want to
Gautam, maybe we
learn
can get
what
started.
first, and then you want
Sure.
to know
Yes.
why and then how.
Great. I
Right?
think
There is a little bit varying, but almost now it become 44. And why, what, how also kind of leading. Okay. So I just want to give a heads up to you all. I understand your preferences. We are happy to know that you would like to know in this particular order. But for this particular presentation, we actually followed the option A, where we are going to explain you why UX maturity model. Then we are going to cover how to conduct UX maturity. And then the third, we are going to say what is UX maturity. Okay, so let me make a move. Yeah, so this is the agenda. As I told you, we are going to say why maturity model, and then how to conduct, and then we are going to talk about what is UX maturity. And later, as we worked for multiple companies, we help them to assess UX maturity, and we are continuously engaged with them to monitor their the maturity level and helping them to move from stage n to n plus one, right? So we felt that it is better to share one of the particular engagement. So we are going to cover that in the case studies. And as last, we can have a Q&A session where if you all have any queries, feel free to ask, and then we can discuss it out. Okay, so now I'm moving to why. Okay, so why UX maturity? Right, this is very important part we all should understand, right, to have better understanding of what is UX maturity, right? Why? Okay, so you take any product, right? I'm talking about most of the product or most of the service, whether you take any particular company, right? Whether it's a product oriented company or it's a service oriented company. Ultimately, if you see what they are doing is they are actually solving the problem for the human. So if you put human as a center, around human there is a problem, and these companies are actually solving that problem. By solving that problem, they are serving to that particular human group, I would say, or the user group, I would say, right? So if you want to solve the problem for the human, there are n number of processes, but there is only one process, which is UX process, which is actually part of product development framework, right? Which is the only process which is always considering user, or that is why we call that as a human centered design, right? Whether you do research or whether you want to understand the problem, whether you are analyzing the problem, or whether you are actually creating solution for that problem, or whether you are actually implementing the product to solve that problem, right? Each and every stage, actually you are going back to the user, you are taking feedback from the user, you are actually understanding what is his needs, what is his wants, or what is his expectation, and then actually you are doing it. If you involve human, or if you involve the end user in each and every stage of the process, right, ultimately whatever product we are going to produce or we are going to deliver, it is definitely going to be useful for the end user, right? That is the reason we say that UX maturity for any team or any organization, it's very important. It's very vital for the success of that product or what success of that business, or it can be service or it can be a product company. Right? It is very important. So I hope you got why UX maturity, and also I want you all to imagine such a way that UX maturity can't happen in a day, right? Actually, you have to grow it like a plant. You have to cultivate in your organization, or you have to cultivate in your team, right? So this is a kind of practice you have to start doing it over the period of time. It grows. When you reach that level, basically it will start giving the output, right? It is going to be very tasty, right? So that's what I would like to tell you. With that, we are covering why UX maturity. Okay. Now it's a time to understand how to conduct UX maturity, right? So now I mean, as we said, because companies should be human centric, then only whatever product they are developing, it is going to be useful for them, right? And it is not going to be wasted. All we have seen. But how to access UX maturity? Okay, I'm convinced. Let's say if you are a business owner, you might be feeling that, okay, I am convinced. But how do we make sure that, how do you measure that we are UX matured company, or which stage we are in, right? You might be having that question in your mind, right? Okay, so let me tell you. See, as I show you some scenario, right? Even I would like to bring some more scenario to you. Imagine that you are taking your car for the maintenance, or maybe it has some problem, you want to solve it, or you are taking your child to yoga teacher, or to teach something to your daughter or maybe son, right? Or imagine that you are going to meet doctor, right? If it is ideal doctor or ideal mechanic, what they will do, they will try to understand the current state or current situation of that machine, and then they will suggest, hey, the stage is like this, maybe we need to do this to repair your car. Even you, let's say if you have a fever, you are meeting the doctor, he will assess you first, and then he will tell you how to rectify that problem, right? Even as a teacher, your teacher, they will try to understand the situation, or they will try to assess the student a level of learning in the yoga, and then they will plan for it, right, as an ideal coach. So it's the same way. This is what we are doing it in UX maturity also. Basically, we are evaluating each and every team member, right, or the team or the organization, what is their level today. Okay, but what will we evaluate? If you have that question, and as I told you, if you want to move from A to B, we saw the four factors, right? Strategy, culture, process, and outcomes, right? So now we need to evaluate these four factors of the organization if you want to find UX maturity level of that organization, or it can be a team, or it can be individual, right? So now, so that is what we will evaluate when to access the UX maturity. Okay, but do you think accessing is enough, right? You might be thinking whether accessing is enough. No, if you want a growth, you should know where you are standing today and where do you want to move next, right? How, where to focus next. This is very important. It's like two sides of the coins. That's what I would like to tell everybody, right? So if you see that process, it is a iterative process. It is a continuous process, right? Where you need to assess the current stage by identifying the sample size, conducting the survey, and analyzing the responses, and then setting the goal, and then tracking growth. So, but broadly, you can divide into two categories: assessing the current stage and setting the direction for the growth. Okay, this is what UX. This is how you should conduct the UX maturity. Okay. So now let's quickly see how to assess current stage of the maturity. As I mean, this process mostly we adapted from NN group, and then we kind of evaluated over the 6 month duration. We understand it, and then we kind of improved from that, or we derived from that basic model, and then we followed new model, which that is what we are following with all our clients. Okay, so if you have kind of 10 to 20 team members in a particular organization, maybe it is better to go with all the team members. Or if you have team size of 20 to 100, then you can go for 30% of each department, because conducting with all the team members might be yielding the same result, right? That is why this is based on the expert advice. We go with that 30% of each department. And if if an organization has more than 100, we go with the senior executives, right? And also there are few exceptions, like for example, let's say there are some employees who actually joined recently. They have very less than 6 months of experience with the organization. They actually taking time to get acquainted to that new culture, right? Maybe it is better to avoid conducting survey from them. Okay, so I'm going next. Okay, so as I told you, we prepared set of questions which kind of which is part of the survey, which can ask strategy related question, cultural related question, process related, and non outcome related. So we prepare the question and then we send that survey to the team, and they will answer based on that survey. We kind of tell which stage they are right now. As I told you, even the stages we adapted from the NN group. So there are 6 stages. In detail, you will be covering it in what is UX maturity, and this is how we kind of explain the final outcome, analyze, and then explain to the client the final outcome, and direction of growth. Yeah. So till this, what we have done is we conducted the survey, we analyzed the result, we know, we accessed what is the level we are in right now. Right now, we need to set a goal for the next growth, right? So now, basically, this is even human tendency, right? Everybody wants to be in a high level stage. There are 6 stages. Everybody wants to be in 6th stage, right? But let's say we find that we are in 3rd stage. Actually, it is better to move 3rd stage to 4th stage and then 4th stage, like one step, right? So that is very important. So that is what we would like to suggest. If you are in stage N, it is better to set a goal to go to stage N+1. Right. And then there are few guidelines, as I told you already. You always need to move one goal at a time, one stage at a time. Now you should not try to jump it. Okay. So, and then setting a goal, make sure that whether that goals are kind of we are tracking, we are kind of doing it or not. It's also very important, right? Any doctor who check your health condition, obviously they will kind of ask you to come regularly, and then they will check your health till you become normal, right? Or you become very active, right? So even in UX maturity, we need to assess your condition, and then we need to periodically check whether you are moving towards the next stage or not, right? So this is what how to conduct UX maturity. Now I would like to invite Divya to explain about what is UX maturity.
Hello, yeah,
Divya?
thank you, thank you, Madhavan, for taking us through what is the important of those are the 4 factors, and thanks for letting us know how to conduct this UX maturity. So currently, I'm going to take you to basically we have covered how those 4 factors is playing role in our even in our regular life, or how those things is important when we are talking about the maturity of a UX. In the same way, we are going to talk about like what is it like where these 4 factor, how it is going to help us, or if we are talking about conducting the maturity, where basically it is going to take us. So basically, I would like to point out so these are the 6 stages. We have the similar model as the like the NN group has. for whom for those who don't know about the NN Group was a design practitioner, or we give we thank you them for some of the information that we have like studied from them. Or this is the model that we study from them. So basically, I'm going to talk about each of the stages, how what is it, or what it contain, like what it is talk about the stages or on all. So basically each of the titles, so is title of the each of the stages basically contain the meaning of it. So first stage is the absent basically talk about the stage where the organization or the company who do not have knowledge about the UX. It is for them the company who may be a startup or technical company who is not serving into the product and service way. They just handle a small part of a technical side, and they understand that UX is something that is not the part of their their system. So it is, so those kind of organization is basically stand on the absent label. Then we are going to talk about the limited is the second stage of the UX maturity. uh, can you take the slide forward? Uh, yeah, basically, limited is again it's contained the meaning of itself. Like, so basically, limited is basically refer to the all the organization who may be the organization or the company who have at least one person or the one individual or maybe experimental group who have a little bit of knowledge about the UX, but they do not have any system for it. They do not have any dedicated role for it. They do not have any budget for it, but still they are kind of aware, not the team, but at least one person who is aware about the UX, or they kind of do sometime, we can say. But we talk about the third stage, that is emergent. So like when you grow up, like when you we're talking about the further stages, it's mean that we are adding more learning, or we are involving more UX into our system. In the same way, if we talk about the emergent stage where the company have at least one team of the UX designer, they kind of know what is UX, or they try to deliver service on it, but it is on the functional level, not going or not talking about the user driven thing. Still they try to do it, but it's not consistent over there. They know it, but it's not consistent over there. So it like equally, as we talk about the four factor like culture, process, strategy, and outcome. Every each of the factor play the equal role in growing and stepping up the further stages. Then moving to the structure level, structure is basically the fourth stage where most of the company is standing. So structure is something when a organization is very much aware about the value of UX. They kind of recognize what is UX, or they have like, I mean, the all the four sector that we talk about, the strategy, process, and culture and outcome. Each of the sector is kind of contributing in stepping further and giving involving into the UX, but not on a very positive manner, but it's there only. Then you're talking about the second last stage. It's called integrated. Basically, this stage is a refer to the someone who have a kind of they have a very comprehensive work, and they do it in a very effective manner. And all these four kind of factor of the organization is contributing them in a good manner, but they are still on the level where they're not user they are not all the time whatever they are going to deliver is not on the user driven side. Sometimes they have to go according to the client, and they have to just do the what business required it, instead of like ignoring the what user actually needed there. But we talk about the last stage, it's called user driven. At this particular stage is basically it is the stage where very few of the companies stand, because it's a take too much, like it's a kind of we need equal and a very positive kind of contribution from the all the four factor. So it is the stage where UX is considered every single person about the company was very much enlightened about what is UX and how it is going to help them. I'm not talking about only the team of a designer. It's everyone into the company. Maybe we can talk about the development team, sales team, and marketing team. They already know how UX is playing role into their system of working, or how UX is basically in the habit of each of the person of the organization. Yeah, that is it from the UX maturity side. So currently, I mean, we after studying about what, why, and how to conduct it, we firstly we went with our one client, and we try to a study about their maturity level, and we came up with some of the good data that Gautam is going to take you through that.
Thanks a lot, Divya. I think that gives us a comprehensive understanding on what the UX maturity model is. Now that we're looking at it, I think something that was a bit of an exercise for us was a case study. We've done this over a period of maybe like 6 months, where we tried to assess multiple companies, and this one seemed to be something that of our interest, which we thought that we could put ourselves through. For now, we'll be referring to them as Org1, who be claiming that they're a established design-driven organization which provides design services. They've been established for about 3 years. So they approached us with an intention of trying to get to a stage where they understand that being user-centric and having the user-centeredness, the mindset across the organization will eventually lead to having a better product, will eventually lead to having better business prospects, profits, as well as being just as a positive outcome for the people, as well as the customers, as well as their own employees. The whole thought of user-centric mindset being across the organization. So they had the point B plotted out, right? They wanted to get from a stage to a much higher stage. But what the task or the challenge that was placed down for us was to make them understand. We broke down the challenges, trying to understand where how we can break it to tell them where the current stage is. Meaning, even though they've been part of a design organization, they've been standing at a second is trying to get at a point to adapt the user-centric mindset across organization. What are the steps that they're going to be taking? And third is, what is this periodic growth that's going to happen? With that, I think we will go ahead with the one process of what exactly happened with the assessment. To just give you a recap on this maturity assessment, the first is identifying the sample. Then we conduct the survey. I'll just briefly give you an overview of how all of these was done. Then analyzing the responses. And after that, we set the goals for this organization. Now, being the organization that is with the nature, once we started intervening with its operations, figured that there were about 95 to 96 employees. The organization was broken down into 5 departments. And with the empirical relation with the headcount that Madhavan had mentioned earlier, we took about 30 people from the whole organization, and the senior management was interested as well to be participating in the survey. So we included all of it to get a very clear understanding. So we sent out the survey forms, which is how we conducted the survey. So can you get on to the yeah. In order to, so even as a practice, like for us to send out the survey, it's not just having to push it out through emails. There has to be some sort of a general discussion, because not everybody is aware of it. So once the identified sample, once we have identified the sample, we've had a general discussion among what the concept of the survey is going to be. Not too much as well, but just giving an idea of it. Give it about 2 days to collect the responses of 36 based on what the time was. And to tell you a little bit about the survey, it contains like 13 questions, all of them spread across the 4 factors which we've been emphasizing on right from the beginning. And if so, each question is evaluated, and it tries to extract a quality of these factors. So, for example, if I look at what culture does, we have a question that says, what initiatives does your organization to take in order to make the workplace more engaging? So why I'm putting this out is for us to understand that even to gauge how culture is playing a role, and what initiatives, how are you creating a conducive environment for people to learn? these questions have options. Each options have their own weightage, and based on the people's perception, people's experience in the organization, we get the responses. And then there's an underlying logic which gives us a result of the overall maturity, and that's what we do to take as a result. And then each department is analyzed as well. So if you look at the result that we got, this is the overall um, uh, and the responses. Most of the respondents came out to the solution being structured. So it's saying that because of the fact that it was already a design uh, oriented organization, there was a team that was established in order to do the practices. And as I mentioned, the leadership supports UX, and there's also at high level strategies they're trying to implement it. There is a central definition of design across the organization, but it's not like that they've included all the other side departments to be part of the entire product planning or goals. So if we take the overall result, this is what we get. But what do we do with this? This is not just the data. This is not going to help me get to a stage where I can sit down and break down what these goals are going to be. So for that, with the same responses, what we can achieve is this overviews for individual departments. So what you see on the screen are these spider charts where for individual departments, we can see what the extent of these factors are. So, for example, if I look at design, you can see that for strategy, culture, and process, we're standing at the stage of about structure, which is 4. But when it comes to outcome, it's lacking a little bit. So an overview like this gives us direction on what is to be done. So we clearly, in order for them to move from wherever they are to stage 6, it's not going to be an easy task. There has to be strategical changes, as well as practices that have to be strongly put into their planning. Right. Similarly, for all the other departments, we had ideas coming out and directions. If that was department, this is based on factors. Even though they are the same data, what you're looking at is for individual factors: strategy, culture, process, and outcome. We get an idea of which department is doing what. So now, if you look at what process is, so the underlying is design and development. They're playing an equal role when it comes to a process, but senior management, the perception of what the process is doing in the organization is a little lower. So they are implying that there has to be a little more practice on what the organization is doing, right? So the report essentially consists of the overall as well as these individual factor-wise and department-wise results, which gives us directions and the goals that have to be set. Before getting on to the specificity of the goals, and as mentioned, like because of the nature of the organization and their ambition, uh, it's not like it was imperative to emphasize that they could not just jump from being a structured organization all the way to something way higher, like user driven. It is important to work incrementally from one step to another, practicing and accomplishing these objectives that are all the way. That's the whole point of A to B. With that, the growth is going to be a continuous improvement as a process, right? I will just go on to the brief directions that we have given. It's not going to be too much, so I'll just pick out. So these are the goals that were suggested for the company. I wouldn't go through all of it, and these are also just a few of them. To name a few which are tangible, maybe I'll bring out about culture, which where we're talking about how because of the way the organization was running, even though they were aware that all departments were having this definition of what design was, but they were never part of say brainstorming or the ideation sessions during the product planning, right? So there was a need for people from different departments to be included in this whole process, and giving out, because at the end of the day they play out as stakeholders as well, and for the ideas that are coming in from different angles. In order to do that, they had to, we suggested that conduct like a few workshops based on 2-3 workshops, and then try to practice that over and over so that you get to the next stage that you can do. So once the goals are set, that's not going to be the end of it. As we mentioned earlier, there is the final part of the iterative process is the tracking of growth. Here we're talking about the monitoring, right? Once the goals are set, each stage from point A to point B, you're going to be having reviews, and this has to be done as part of an engagement with a monitoring body, which could either be an external agency or within your own organization as a team, where they're constantly and periodically checking for example, like what we have written down as reviews, say how many workshops are conducted, what kind of people were involved in it, how many departments actually had an outcome, what was the result, and so forth. In the end, like all the 5 steps become part of one process, and this in turn is an iterative process. So in order for us to go from one lower stage to a higher stage, it's a constant process which has been talked about. With that being said, I think we have concluded the whole talk about what UX assessment itself is. I hope like all of that was some useful information that played out to all of those who have attended our call today. We are Fibonalabs. You can find us at fibonalabs.com, and we are active on all social platforms. And the links will be shared on the chat right away. You can find us on LinkedIn. We've been sharing webinars. We've had blogs as well. So you can please check out whatever you feel like there are various topics that are being covered. And as a favor from all of you all, if you have really enjoyed what has happened and if you have found it useful, we are obviously on a constant roll to improve ourselves and perform and give out more webinars. We would like to have a preference of what our next topic would be, and we have a few of these, and we would just like to know what you think would be good. We would like to poll for this. Okay. Following this, we'll be doing Q&A sessions. There have been few responses on the chat. We would love to check it out, and we will quickly just get on to that. 1 second. So I will be unmuting as we have done with this. So really, just whoever's free, if we can go one by one and figure out. Oh, and one more thing I've forgotten to mention is if you're really appreciate, it'll be really kind of you to give us a feedback on what you felt. If you have shared the link of the feedback form, and we'd love to hear from you. Once again, thank you all for joining us. It's been great. We've enjoyed as much as how much you guys have. Hope it was a useful session. Two things on. I think we can just check out. So I think
Gautam, maybe
yes.
if they have a question, they can raise a hand and you can enable them to talk.
No, I think I've enabled all of them to talk. Thanks a lot, Martinez. Very kind of you to say that. I think thanks, Bobby, as well. Joshua's asked us which model the maturity model is based off. So we've we have taken the material to be from NN Group, but after that, that was a primary source of information or study material, but we have made our own version of what it's supposed to be, and the underlying logic to evaluate or assess a company. It's running our own thing. So we would like to exercise it on other companies as well, or new age companies. I mean, that was the whole point, and we're looking forward to taking it ahead. But NN Group model is primarily the one which set it off. So it would be fair to say that we have to take pace from NN Group itself. So
Yeah, actually, we kind of spend 6 month time to re-engineer that concept and try to understand what kind of algorithm they have built to come up with the final result, right, from the survey. So, and then we have built our own. So we would say we inspired from in group UX maturity, but we derived and we have improved for our own purpose. So that is what we have been using for our client as well. I hope I'm audible, Gautam.
Got
yes,
someone is
Madam.
raising hand. Can you unmute them?
Yeah, I think please, Raj is on now. Raj, I think you can go ahead. Can you unmute yourself? I think the meeting settings have been changed. Yeah, are you able to unmute yourself? Hi, Raj. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi, am I audible? I think I was not able to unmute earlier.
Yeah. I think the settings are off a little bit, but
Okay.
you're audible.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for joining, Raj. Yes.
Yeah, hope all of you guys are good, and it was a great session. Before I ask something, uh, so in today's corporate kind of like any tech company, right, I think most of them are into say the integrated phase. So is there any way or any technique or any way in which you can move from the integrated phase to the user-driven phase? Because I think most of them understand what UX is, and everyone talks about UX. Everyone knows who is what UX is, how it is done, what is going on. Everyone is aware of it. But uh, what do you think are ways to involve everyone into the process, like moving into the user-driven phase? If you could give any insights, that'd be great.
Yeah, so Raj, I would like to answer that. Even on Jan 16, 2022, right? NN Group released the report. Till now, whoever the individually they try to take this the survey out of 5,447, I believe, if I remember correctly, or above 5,000 users. The respondent who took the survey, they come under the third stage, which is kind of emergent, right? Out of that, 49% are an emergent. So if some company actually claiming that they are in the integrated, first of all, I doubt that. You need to conduct the survey and then you need to understand where they are right now. It might be their gut feeling. That is what I think you are representing right now, right? And of course, I mean, there is a set of guidelines we can provide, move from stage 5 to stage 6, but knowing in detail, going through that, what to say, going through the survey, understanding it, analyzing it. After analyzing, if we are giving some goal, if we are helping you guys to set a goal, then it will be more meaningful. Even if you see in group, actually they are trying to give some suggestion. If you are in stage 5 to move to stage 6, maybe probably you can follow these guidelines, right? But this is, I would say this is kind of suggestions. We cannot make sure that it is going to work for everybody. So analyzing the survey, analyzing the result, and then setting the goal to go to the next level. It's a more meaningful, Raj.
Right. And
I
I think it's a very fair point that you brought up that like it might be in the emerging phase and then considered to be in the integral phase. I think that's a very fair point as well.
Yeah, imagine that the organization have multiple department, and maybe there are 5 department out of 5, two department might be knowing about, thinking about their end user, taking decision for their end user, but other 3 department may not be thinking in that direction at all, right? So it varies. That maturity level varies between the organization to organization. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. Any other queries? We can take it up.
There is one. We have unmuted. Can you please unmute yourself and place your question? I think someone was raising a hand. I didn't notice who that was.
Guys, feel free to ask your questions. Even we need questions to analyze more, understand, to learn from our side. So feel free to go ahead and ask questions.
I think Mr. Vakas, if you can go ahead. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi, Madhavan sir. The session was great.
Yeah,
Hello,
thank you, Prakash. Is it Prakash? I'm sorry if I'm
my name is Vakas.
referring you by
It
wrong.
starts with W. Yeah.
Yeah, Vakas. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Vakas, for the kind words. Yeah, please go ahead and ask your questions.
Yeah, and this UX maturity is been done only for the biggest organizations. Am I right?
I mean, we as a service provider, we are planning to do it for a bigger organization. But in ideal situation, it can be done for a team, or even it can be done for individual. If
Okay.
you do NN group, actually you can do you can answer their queries, and then you will come to know your maturity, UX maturity level at the end of the survey. Even we have our own portal, but we are about to open for general public. But it might take next 2 months down the line. We will be doing it, Vakas.
Great. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm UI UX designer. I'm working at a design company, and
Okay.
and I feel
It's too late.
many people
Too
are
late.
not feeling well about UX design. Actually, they are focusing only on UI design. As per concerns, for that type of companies, can you take a backup blog and you can focus on UX and take their project leads and move
Yeah.
further?
This is, I think, if I understand correctly, you
Yeah.
are from India. Is
Yeah.
that
Right.
correct?
Right.
So
You're right.
it's
Absolutely.
very typical situation in India, where we do UI and we call ourselves user experience designer,
Really.
and
Really.
uh,
Really.
that,
Really.
that's what we are trying to change, where we are doing more of UX research project compared to UI design project. So that's how, like, we are trying to keep visual designer, UI interaction designers, UI designers separately, and then we have UX designer who actually goes for user research along with a UX researcher.
Yes.
So we concentrate more on the research part of the phase of the UX process. So
Really. That will
we
be
kind of trying
helpful.
to, yeah, right. So basically we are focusing on the first two phase of the UX process, right? That research and analysis, right? See,
Okay.
and
Perfect.
I just, as we talk about this, I would like to tell you this. See, we as a human, this is what I used to tell. Even I used to tweet about it. We as a human, we kind of evolved so much, and we kind of we can come up with multiple solution for a particular problem if we understand the problem better, right? So, but how do
Definitely.
you understand the problem better without doing the research, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So if
Definitely.
you do research, we can come up with a better solution for that problem. If we understand the exact problem, right? So that's
Definitely.
where we as a Fibonacci we as a design community, we are focusing more on research, and everything else will happen automatically. That is what I'm trying to tell you.
Great, Madan. Great, Madan. Thanks a lot for your feedback. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us and encouraging us. Hope to see more sessions. Hope to attend more session along with you guys. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day, people. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining.